Hello, it's Miss Beatty here, and today we are going to continue looking at percentages. So we need to remember that percentages are always out of 100, 100%. Okay, and fractions, decimals, and percentages are all linked together. Yesterday we looked at finding percentages of a shape. So we had 100 square, and for example, maybe 80% of the shape was shaded in grey. So that means 20% of the shape was not shaded in grey because 80 and 20 is 100%. And just remembering that percentages are always a part of something, working with hundreds, okay? And we've done a little bit of work on our hundreds, and hopefully this video will show you how those skills link in with our topic on percentages. We're looking to convert percentages into fractions and decimals, or converting fractions and decimals into percentages. This video is going to show you how to do that step by step, and it will help you when you come to working on your activity sheets, okay, after this video. So you can pause it at any time or you can rewind it just to get a better understanding of certain parts of it. So I hope it helps. A percentage is just a fraction out of 100. We've done a lot of work on fractions and hundreds. So 10% is the same as 10 over 100. 62% is the same as 62 over 100. 5% is the same as 5 over 100. Remember, a percentage is always going to be out of 100, okay? Most people, they understand that 50%, whenever you see 50%, that means a half, because a half is equal to 50 over 100, because a half of 100 is 50. 50 add 50 is 100. So a half always equals 50%. If you had questions like 50% of 30, all it's really asking you is what is a half of 30? 30 divided by 2, which would be 15, because we know that 15 add 15 is 30. What is 50% of 20? What is a half of 20? How many 2's go into 20? The answer would be 10. Half of 20 is 10, because 10 add 10 is 20. 50% of 80, what is a half of 80? Well, I know the answer is 40, because 40 add 40 is 80, and 80 divided by 2 is 40. So that's how you find 50% of a number. Okay. Percentages, we know, can also be written as decimals. So here we have 15%. Here it is a fraction. In fraction form is 15 over 100, just like our previous examples. But as a decimal, it's 0.15, because when you divide 15 by 100, you're moving our decimal point back 2 places, so it becomes 0.15. Percentages, like I said, can also be decimals. So 17% here, if I want to change this into a decimal, all I am doing is dividing 17 by 100, because remember, percentages are always out of 100. So as a fraction, it would be 17 out of 100, but we want to write it as a decimal. So all you're doing is 17 divided by 100. And remember, when you're dividing anything by 100, the decimal point moves back 2 spaces to here, and we put our placeholder in. So 17% as a decimal is 0.17. What about 35% as a decimal? Again, you're just dividing 35 by 100, so we move our decimal point back 2 spaces. So it becomes 0.35. So 35% as a decimal is 0.35. What about if you only have a single digit, like 5% or 8%? Again, it's the exact same. You just need to remember to divide it by 100. It's the same as saying 5 over 100 as a fraction, but let's divide it. 1, 2. So our decimal point moves to here. We need to put our 0 in as our placeholders and 0 in here. So 0.05 is the same as 5%. Okay? 8% as a decimal. Let's divide 8 by our 100, move our decimal point back 1, 2 places, and we put our placeholder, our 0, in the correct places. So 8% as a decimal is 0.08. Okay, so that's how you convert a percentage into a decimal. Okay. It's important to also know that these might ask you to change, or the questions in our activity sheets might ask us to change decimals back into percentages. So if you see 0.17, it's the same as saying 17 over 100, okay, as a fraction. But to change it back into a percentage, rather than dividing by 100, we're just multiplying by 100. So this decimal point needs to move forward 2 spaces. 1, 2. And you just put the point there. So it becomes 17%. You could put 17.0%, but that's just the exact same as saying 17%. 0.63 as a percentage. Let's multiply 0.63 by 100 to move our decimal point back. Sorry, move it forward 2 spaces. 1, 2. So our point goes here. So it's just 63%. So 0.63 is the decimal and 63% is the percentage. What about this one? 0.04. Again, if we multiply this by 100, we're moving our decimal point forward 2 spaces. 1, 2, put their point here. It's just the same as saying 4%. Okay, 4%. 0.08, we multiply it by 100. 1, 2, and that becomes 8%. So 0.08 is the same as saying 8%. Okay, and so that's how you change a decimal into a percentage. If you've already got the percentage and you want to change it into a decimal, you're dividing by 100. Okay, you're moving that decimal point back 2 places. But if you've already got the decimal and you want to change it back into a percentage, you're just multiplying by 100, moving that decimal point forward 2 places. So I hope that makes sense. In the activity sheet, if you decide to choose spicy or the hot task, the slightly more trickier one, make sure to read the example at the very top of the page because that tells you what to do. You will need to use a calculator for this, so I recommend using either a calculator if you have one, your phone, an iPad, or even just Google, the Google calculator. They will all work absolutely fine for this task. Okay, so it's set out step by step. You just need to remember that, yep, it will always be out of 100. A percentage will always be out of 100. Same with the fraction and same with our decimals. Now, if you have got a mixed fraction like 3/5, okay, and you want to change that into a percentage, or you want to change it into a decimal, you have to follow these steps. Okay, so write 3/5 as a decimal first and then as a percentage. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to do 3 divided by 5. Okay, so first of all, you would do 3 divided by 5. So you would type that into your calculator, 3 divided by 5, which is equal to 0.6. Okay, there you have got your decimal, so we can tick that off. You've worked out what 3/5 is as a decimal, it's 0.6, but now we want it as a percentage. So to change our decimal into a percentage, remember we need to just multiply it by 100. 0.6 times 100, okay, will get us the percentage. And by doing that, again, you're just moving this decimal point forward 2 places. 1, 2, okay? So 1, 2. So the point goes here. Remember, you have to add in that placeholder. So 0.6 as a percentage becomes 60%. Okay? 60%. So 3/5 is the same as 60%. And if you look here, changing each fraction into a decimal, then into a percentage, it tells you how to do that step by step. Okay, we'll do one more example. How to change this mixed fraction into a decimal and then a percentage. Right, write 8/50ths or 8 over 50 as a decimal first and then as a percentage. So step 1, we need to do 8 divided by 50. Okay, we need to divide the top number by the bottom number, the numerator by the denominator. I know by typing into my calculator that 8 divided by 50 is 0.16. So that is what the decimal is, 0.16. For the second part of this question, I need to change it into a percentage. So to do that, I need to use my decimal, 0.16, and I just need to multiply it by 100. So I need to move my decimal point, okay, forward 2 places. 1, 2, so it ends up here. So 0.16 multiplied by 100 is equal to 16, but because it's a percentage, we need to put in that percentage sign. Okay, so 0.16 is the same as 16%. So 8/50ths is the same as 0.16, and it's the same as saying 16%. So that is how you change mixed fractions. Okay, that's how you change mixed fractions into a decimal and then a percentage. So I hope that makes sense. It might just take a little bit of practice, but I think if you follow this video and you read the step-by-step guide at the top of your activity sheet, then it should help. Remember to ask for help if you need it. You must use a calculator, okay? And challenge yourself to more than one activity. So if you think mild has been a bit too easy, challenge yourself to spicy or hot. Again, if you find that's maybe a wee bit tricky, then you can try mild first, okay? Remember to keep challenging yourself, ask for help if you need it. And like I said, I hope this video helps you. Bye bye.